Asterisk, you won't believe this. My fiancée looked me in the eyes over dinner at a crowded restaurant and said she regretted leaving her college boyfriend for me. Then she compared our 3-year relationship to swimming in a kiddie pool, safe, shallow, and boring. She said her ex made her feel alive. My heart stopped. I laughed in disbelief, then told her to pack her bags. My name's Mason. I'm 30, a firefighter in Kentucky. I'd been with my fiancée, Leela, for 3 years. We got engaged last fall. The wedding was set for June. My parents had already put down money for the venue, and my sister bought her bridesmaid dress. Everyone was invested, and I thought I was investing in forever. But for months before this dinner, things had been off. She'd hide her phone like it was a nuclear code. She stopped holding my hand when we walked together. If I kissed her, she pulled away like I was a stranger. And yet, she'd keep talking about the wedding flowers, centerpieces, guest list, like she was planning a play. And I was just the prop. At first, I blamed stress. She teaches middle school, long hours, demanding parents. I told myself she just needed space. So, I worked extra shifts, stacked overtime. She wanted a honeymoon in Italy. I was killing myself to make that happen. But she was slipping further away. Then came that dinner. I picked her up, excited just to spend time together. She was already dressed, staring at her phone when I got home. Didn't even say hi properly. At the restaurant, she barely touched her food. Finally, I asked her again what was wrong. And she dropped it. I've been talking to Jordan again. Her ex. The guy she dated in college who cheated on her, dumped her, and left her crying in her dorm room at 2 a.m. I froze. She leaned closer, whispering like she was telling me some great revelation. We shouldn't have broken up. He made me feel like I was drowning in the best way. With you, Mason, I feel safe, but bored. Like I settled. You're convenient. Double quotes convenient. I sat there, staring at the woman I thought I'd marry, and she was telling me I was basically her backup plan. I didn't make a scene, didn't throw a drink. I just said, then go to him. But you're not doing it from my house. I left cash for the bill and walked out. By the time I got home, she was there crying on the couch. She tried to backpedal, claimed she didn't mean it, that she was confused. I didn't buy it. I opened my banking app, shut down our joint account, and told her to start packing. 2 hours later, she stood at the door with her suitcases, mascara running down her face. She left the engagement ring on the coffee table. Her last words, "You're throwing away 3 years over one conversation." No, Leela. You threw it away. I'm just taking out the trash. The next morning, my phone exploded. Dad, my sister Abby, friends, everyone wanted to know why the wedding was off. I kept it simple. Ask Leela about Jordan. That was all they needed. My parents were furious on my behalf. My dad offered to help cancel the vendors, even offered to call her parents himself. Abby, my little sister, was blunt. She's an idiot. You dodged a bullet. Honestly, hearing her say that made me feel better than anything else. Lila's parents, though. Oh boy. Her mom called me sobbing, begging me not to give up on her daughter. She's just scared, Mason. Everyone gets cold feet. She pleaded. I told her it wasn't cold feet. It was betrayal. Her dad left me a voicemail saying relationships take work and I was being too dramatic. I never called them back. And that was just the beginning. Asterisk. The first week after Leela moved out was pure chaos. Word spread like wildfire through our friend group. Some called me brave. Others called me reckless. And a few actually said I should have fought for her. She told me to my face that I was boring, that her cheating ex was better. What exactly was I supposed to fight for, being her consolation prize? I shut it down quick. Whenever someone asked, I just said, ask Leela about Jordan. That phrase was like a bomb. People knew. And she hated that. I found out a few days later that she was trying to spin her own version of the story, telling people she was confused, that I abandoned her when she needed me most. Classic. No mention of Jordan. No mention of calling me safe and shallow. Just me, the bad guy. Then came the first curveball. One night, I was at the station when my buddy Zach called me, laughing so hard he could barely breathe. Bro, you're not gonna believe this. Leela showed up at the Lantern. That's the bar we always go to on Fridays, my place, my circle. Apparently, she walked in like she owned the place, smiling, hugging people, ordering shots. And then, she started asking around about me. To my friends. In the middle of the bar, "Where's Mason? Is he seeing anyone? Do you think he'll talk to me if I come by the firehouse?" Zach said. Everyone just stared at her. Finally, one of the guys said, "Ask Mason about Jordan." The whole place went silent. She bolted. When I heard that, I left. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Sure enough, a few nights later, she showed up at my parents' house. My mom called me, furious. Mason, your ex-fiancée was on our porch at 10 p.m., crying and begging us to convince you to take her back. I couldn't believe it. What did you say? My mom said she told her to leave. But my dad wasn't so polite. He came outside and told her flat out, you disrespected my son. You don't get to cry on our porch now. That should have been the end. But no, 2 days later, I walked into the station, and the guys were all staring at me like I'd grown a second head. What? I asked. They pulled out someone's phone. On Facebook, there it was. A giant, melodramatic post from Leela. Mason abandoned me when I needed him most. He couldn't handle the pressure of marriage. He left me because I dared to be honest. Real love takes work, and he wasn't willing to fight. It had a picture of us from our engagement shoot attached. I nearly threw up, but here's the kicker. The comments that one of her own coworkers wrote, didn't you tell everyone you were talking to Jordan again? Another, this isn't what Mason told me. Something's missing. And my sister Abby. She absolutely lit her up. Funny how you forgot to mention telling him his love felt like a kiddie pool. The post was deleted within hours. But the damage was done. She looked desperate, and everyone saw it. I thought maybe that would calm her down. Wrong again. The real explosion came at a wedding. Not ours, obviously, but my cousin's. I debated skipping, but my mom begged me to go. Family first, she said. So I went. And guess who was there? Leela. I froze when I saw her walk into the reception hall. Apparently, she'd stayed friendly with my cousin's girlfriend, and somehow snagged an invite. I nearly walked out. But then I thought, no, she's not running me out of my own family's wedding. The night was tense. She kept her distance at first, but I saw her watching me. Watching every move, every laugh, every conversation. Then, during the bouquet toss, she actually came up to me and tried to whisper in my ear, Mason, we can fix this, please. Don't make me look like a fool. My sister Abby saw it and immediately swooped in, pulling me away and saying loud enough for everyone to hear, you've already done a good job of that yourself. Leela, gasps, silence, half the room froze. Leela turned red and stormed out, but not before throwing her champagne glass against the wall. It shattered. The DJ cut the music. People whispered. The bride was furious. And that's when I realized something terrifying. Leela wasn't just desperate. She was unhinged. And the worst was still coming. Asterisk. After the wedding fiasco, I thought Leela would finally crawl back under whatever rock she came from. She humiliated herself in front of my entire family, threw a tantrum like a spoiled teenager, and still had the audacity to act like I was the villain. Surely, she'd realize it was over, right? Wrong. 3 days later, my buddy Trey texted me, dude, you need to see this. Attached was a screenshot of a Tinder profile, whose face was front and center. Leela. But the bio. Oh, the bio was gold. Recently betrayed. Looking for a real man. Not someone weak who runs when love gets hard. If you're adventurous, spontaneous, and not boring like my ex-fiancée, let's talk. I read it 3 times just to let it sink in. She was actually advertising me as the boring ex-fiancée to strangers on the internet. Unbelievable. My group chat lit up instantly. Memes, screenshots, roasting her bio. Someone even photoshopped a kiddie pool with my name on it. Sarcasm was the only thing keeping me sane, but things weren't funny anymore when she showed up at my station. It was a Sunday morning, quiet, and I was in the bay cleaning gear. The garage door opened and there she was, hair messy, sunglasses on, holding a tray of muffins like she was dropping off cookies for a bake sale. Mason, she said, all sweet. I just wanted to apologize. I made your favorite. I stood there stunned. My captain walked past, raised his eyebrows, and whispered, that the one who blew up your wedding. Good luck, man. Then he bolted. Thanks, Cap. Leela, you can't be here, I told her. This is my workplace. But I miss you. I made a mistake. Jordan doesn't matter. None of it matters. Please, just talk to me. I lost it. Talk. You humiliated me in public, trashed me online, showed up at my cousin's wedding, and now you're bringing muffins to the firehouse. What do you want from me? The guys upstairs heard me yelling and came down to watch. She looked around, saw the audience, and her mask cracked. You're embarrassing yourself. She snapped out. Oh, the irony. Me embarrassing myself. While she was staging a rom-com meltdown in a fire station lobby. I grabbed the tray of muffins, walked it straight to the trash, and dumped it. We're done. Leave. Now. Her jaw dropped. Gasps from my crew. She stormed out sobbing, yelling, you'll regret this. At that point, I started to wonder if I needed a restraining order. And just when I thought the circus couldn't get any wilder, she called my boss. Yep, The very next week, I got pulled into the office. My chief shut the door and said, "Mason, did you really abandon your fiancée before your wedding?" I blinked. "What?" He sighed, slid his phone across the desk, and there it was, a Facebook message from Leela to him. A novel of lies. She painted herself as the poor, heartbroken teacher and me as some cruel coward who couldn't handle commitment. She even wrote that I had anger problems and trust issues that made her feel unsafe. I was speechless. My ex-fiancée was trying to sabotage my career because I refused to take her back. "Don't worry," my chief said. "I'm not buying it. Handle your personal life, son." I walked out shaking with rage. Who does that? Who tries to destroy someone's job because they won't date you anymore? But she wasn't finished. The next weekend, I went out with friends to watch the game. I was finally starting to feel normal again, laughing, drinking beer, letting loose. And guess who walked in? Leela. She marched straight to my table, slammed her hand down, and shouted, "Tell everyone the truth, Mason. Tell them you love me but you're scared of real passion." The whole bar froze. I swear, you could hear the jukebox stop. I stared at her. Then I laughed. Loud, bitter, ugly. The truth. "Okay. You told me I was boring, that your cheating ex was better, and that you regretted leaving him. That's the truth." Gasps. People turned to look at her. Her face went pale. She stammered something about being confused, but nobody was buying it. The bartender told her to leave or they'd call the cops. She left, but not before screaming, "You'll regret this, Mason. You'll regret all of it." That was the night I knew she was spiraling, but I had no idea how low she was about to go. Asterisk. After the bar incident, I figured Leela had finally burned every bridge. She humiliated herself in front of my family, friends, coworkers, and half the town. Surely, there was nothing left for her to pull, but Leela wasn't done. Not even close. One Friday night, my sister Abby called me in a panic. "Mason, turn on channel 7. Now." I grabbed the remote. My heart stopped. There she was, Leela, on live TV. She was holding a hand-painted sign outside City Hall, cameras everywhere, reporters swarming. The sign said in giant red letters, "Firefighter broke my heart, don't trust Mason." I dropped the remote. My phone exploded with texts, friends, coworkers, even my mom. This wasn't just embarrassing. It was insane. She was staging a public protest about our breakup. And then she pulled the stunt that blew the roof off. She threw herself onto the pavement, sobbing hysterically for the cameras, screaming, "He abandoned me. He ruined my life. How can someone protect the public when he can't even protect love?" The clip went viral before I even processed what was happening. Comments exploded online. Half the people called her crazy. The other half wanted to know what kind of monster I must be to drive someone to that level of meltdown. I was furious, but also terrified. If she was willing to humiliate herself on live TV, what else was she capable of? That's when the new character stepped in. Her name was Harper, the local reporter covering the story. She tracked me down at the firehouse the next morning. Petite, sharp-eyed, not afraid to ask the hard questions. "Mr. Blake," she said, notebook in hand. "Do you want to comment on your fiancé's accusations?" I almost laughed. Ex-fiancé. And no comment. But Harper wasn't just any reporter. She'd gone to high school with me. We weren't close, but she remembered me. And she wasn't buying Lila's sob story. "Mason." Off the record. "Is she telling the truth?" she asked quietly, after the camera was off. So I told her. About Jordan. About the kiddie pool comment. About the wedding she destroyed. Her eyes widened. "That's not what she's been telling us. She said you cheated. That you had a violent temper." I felt my blood boil. Leela was rewriting history. Again, this time for the evening news. None of that's true. I snapped. "Ask anyone who knows me." Harper studied me for a long moment, then said something I'll never forget. "She's not after reconciliation anymore. She's after revenge. And the more attention she gets, the worse this is going to get for you." She was right. That weekend, Leela staged another stunt, this one at a kids' charity event. The fire department had organized a fundraiser, and I was there in uniform, shaking hands, signing calendars. Suddenly, Leela appeared, holding a balloon and crying like she was auditioning for a soap opera. "Mason," she wailed. "Why won't you forgive me?" The crowd gasped. Kids stared. Parents whispered. My chief turned beet red. "Get her out of here," he muttered under his breath. Security escorted her away, but the damage was done. Photos hit social media instantly. One headline read, "Broken-hearted teacher confronts ex-fiancé firefighter at charity event." And just when I thought it couldn't get more humiliating, Harper called me again. "You need to see this," she said. She sent me a video. It was Leela, sitting in her car, mascara running, ranting into her phone camera. If Mason won't love me, he'll pay. He doesn't deserve peace after what he did to me. I froze. That wasn't heartbreak anymore. That was a threat. Do you want me to run this story? Harper asked. I didn't know what to say. On one hand, I wanted the world to see how unhinged Leela was. On the other hand, exposing it might push her over the edge. That night, I barely slept. My phone buzzed at 3 a.m. a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice, low, chilling. You'll regret this, Mason, I promise. The next morning, I woke up to another shock. Someone had spray painted the word coward across my garage door, and I had a sinking feeling I knew exactly who did it. Asterisk. The morning after the spray paint stunt, I finally snapped. Enough was enough. I called the cops, filed a report, even though deep down, I knew nothing would come of it without proof. Still, I wanted it on record. When the officer asked if I had any idea who might have done it, I almost left. Yeah, my ex-fiancé. The one who just staged a protest on live TV. He raised his eyebrows, scribbled in his notebook, and said, "We'll look into it." Sure you will. Later that day, Harper showed up again. She'd been following the story closely, and now she looked nervous, like she was holding something back. "Mason, I need to tell you something," she said quietly. "But you can't tell anyone I gave you this." She pulled out her phone and showed me screenshots. My stomach dropped. It was messages between Leela and Jordan, her precious college ex. And here's the kicker. They hadn't just reconnected a few months ago. They'd been talking for almost a year. Almost the entire time we were engaged. I felt my face burn. A year. While I was working double shifts to pay for her dream honeymoon, she was whispering to her ex behind my back. And then the real shocker hit me. In one of the messages, Jordan had written, "Are you sure Mason's the father? You need to be honest." I froze. Father. My heart pounded in my chest. My hands shook. I scrolled further. Another message from Leela. "It doesn't matter. I told him I miscarried. He'll never know." The world went silent. A miscarriage. That's what she told me 6 months ago. I'd sat beside her in there while she cried. I held her hand. I grieved with her. I thought I'd lost a child. My child. And now I was reading that maybe the baby wasn't even mine. That maybe she'd been pregnant with Jordan's kid all along. Rage doesn't even begin to describe what I felt. My vision blurred. My jaw clenched. I wanted to punch a wall. Harper touched my arm. "I'm sorry, Mason. I thought you deserved to know." I couldn't even speak. That night, I drove aimlessly for hours. My brain replayed everything. The sudden miscarriage. The lies. The way she said she felt safe but bored. The way she threw me away for Jordan like I was nothing. And now this. When I finally got home, there was an envelope taped to my door. No name. No return address. Just my name scrawled in messy handwriting. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a single photograph. Me, asleep on my couch. My blood ran cold. Someone had been inside my house. I stumbled back, heart pounding. The photo was recent. I recognized the blanket I'd been using, the half-empty beer can on the table. This wasn't old. This was within the last week. And on the back of the photo, written in red marker, were 3 words. "We were perfect." I dropped it. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I called the cops again, this time barely able to get the words out. They sent a patrol car, but by the time the officer showed up, I felt like I was losing my mind. Was she stalking me? Breaking into my house? Watching me sleep? The officer took the photo, promised to file it, but the look on his face told me he didn't think they'd catch her unless she slipped up. I barely slept that night. Every creak in the house made me jump. Every shadow looked like her. The next morning, my sister Abby showed up unannounced. She walked in, saw the dark circles under my eyes, and demanded to know what was going on. I handed her the photo. She went pale. "Mason, this is insane. You can't handle this alone. You need protection. Or a lawyer. Or both." She was right. But part of me wasn't just scared. I was furious. Leela had already stolen my peace, my future, my dignity. And now I discovered she might have lied about the baby too. I wanted answers. I wanted the truth. I wanted her exposed for who she really was. And I knew the only way to get it was to confront her directly. Asterisk. I couldn't sit in silence anymore. The lies, the humiliation, the stalking, it had all built to this moment. If Leela thought she could rewrite our story, I was going to set the record straight. So I called her. From a burner phone. She answered on the second ring. "Mason." Her voice was shaky, desperate, hopeful. "We need to talk," I said. "Face to face. Tonight." She agreed instantly. Too eagerly. Like she'd been waiting for this call. We met at a coffee shop downtown. Neutral ground. I walked in, heart pounding, and there she was, hair wild, makeup smudged, eyes darting around like she hadn't slept in days. She looked less like the woman I once loved and more like a ghost wearing her skin. She smiled. "You came." I sat down. No smile, no warmth, just ice. "I know about Jordan," I said flatly. "I know you lied. I know you were talking to him while we were engaged. And I know the baby might not have been mine." Her face drained of color. "Mason, I know." I cut her off. Don't you dare sit here and lie to me again. You made me grieve for a child who probably wasn't even mine. Do you realize what that did to me?" Her hands trembled. She reached across the table. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I thought, if I told you the truth, you'd leave me. And I couldn't lose you. I laughed. Bitter. Sharp. Lose me. You already lost me the second you told me I was boring and convenient. Her eyes filled with tears. But then, and this is what chilled me, she smiled. "You don't get it, Mason. We are perfect. You're angry now, but one day you'll thank me for everything. I made you strong. I made you interesting. Without me, you're nothing." That was it. The final nail. I stood up, every muscle in my body shaking. "No, Leela. Without you, I finally have peace. And I'm done letting you poison my life." Her smile cracked. The mask fell. She lunged for me, grabbing my arm with a grip like iron. People gasped. Chairs scraped. "Mason, please. Don't walk away. I'll change. I'll be anything you want. Just don't leave me." I shoved her hand off. I already left. Security rushed in and pulled her back as she screamed my name over and over, her voice echoing through the cafe like a siren. The whole place watched in stunned silence. I walked out. Didn't look back. But the story didn't end there. The next morning, Harper of the Reporter called me. "She's being admitted," she said quietly. "Psych evaluation." The video of her screaming at you went viral. Her parents finally stepped in. I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Relief. For the first time, I knew it was over. A week later, I found another envelope on my porch. My stomach dropped, but when I opened it, it wasn't a threat. It was a letter. From her parents. "Mason, we are so sorry. We had no idea how bad things had gotten. You didn't deserve any of this. We hope you can move on and find happiness." And I did, because here's the twist no one saw coming through all this madness. Harper of the Reporter and I kept talking. What started as interviews turned into late-night conversations. Conversations turned into dinners. Dinners turned into something real. Irony at its finest. My unhinged ex tried to ruin me through the media. And instead, I found someone worth keeping. A year later, I proposed. No drama, no tears. Just peace. And every time I look at Harper, I thank God for the disaster named Leela, because she showed me exactly what I didn't want. So, Reddit. Was it worth it? Losing thousands in wedding deposits, becoming a viral sideshow, nearly getting stalked into insanity. Yeah, because I walked away stronger, smarter, and with someone who actually chose me. Meanwhile, Lila's wedding dress still hangs in her parents' closet, an expensive reminder that she destroyed her future chasing a fantasy. And me. I'm finally free. Asterisk. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought? Or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next adventure. Asterisk.